The following announcement has been paid for by Perched on the Top Rope.
Achtung, Achtung! Hier ist Alex Wright, and you're watching Perched on the Top Rope.
And as you heard from that show opener today, ladies and gentlemen, joining me is former WCW Alex Wright. Alex, how are you doing today?
Very good. How about you?
I am doing fantastic. I have to ask, you are a second-generation wrestler trained by your father, Steve Wright. So what was it like to train with your dad in pro wrestling?
Well, actually, it was a great time because it was a father-son time, you know. So we have a very close relationship, and it never felt like training to me because, yeah, it was the best playground for me. You know, I grew up on the road, so I was in a trailer or caravan right beside the building, right beside the arena or in the hotel. And yeah, my dad took me to the ring when I was a little child, you know, like I just was able to crawl around and I was in the ring. And as I got older, it was the best playground for me. And I always said to my dad, hey, listen, let's go to the ring. And yeah, as I got older, I wanted to learn more and more and even more. And yeah, there was like a fluent transition from playing around to training. And it never felt like training. It always felt to me like playing around with my dad.
No. Oh, that's incredible.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. Yeah, nice memories.
And you got to have an official tag team match with your dad in CWA for World Cup in 1993. So what was it like to be able to team with your father?
That was always one of my dreams, to be together in a tag team with my dad. So I'm very thankful that I was able to do that.
Oh, that's incredible. And you know, a year later, WCW is on tour. You're 19 years old, and you got to wrestle a WCW match in Germany against Paul Roma as actually like your real first WCW match. So what was it like, you know, for WCW to discover you and to be 19 years old and sign a WCW contract with Time Warner?
Okay, well, the thing was, actually, I was 18 years old at that time.
Okay.
And I don't know how it was for WCW to sign me, but I remember my time, and it was a very exciting time because with 16, I had my first professional wrestling match here in Germany for CWA, which is Cats Wrestling Association. It was one of the biggest German Austrian companies over here. Just to get an idea how big it was, they sold out the arena in Bremen, which holds about 12 to 15,000 spectators. And it was a company without having TV. So that was a big deal here in Europe. Like you said, my dad was a my father started wrestling when he was 16. Or no, actually 15. 15, he had his first professional match, yeah. And he traveled all over the world also. He wrestled for Vern Gagne in the States. He wrestled for Stu Hart, which is the father of Owen and Bret Hart in Canada. He wrestled for New Japan many times against Inoki and Tiger Mask and all those guys. He wrestled in the big companies in Mexico, and he wrestled all over Europe and Asia. And in Europe, like I said before, CWA was the biggest company. And he is a 16 times middleweight champion over here, world champion, multiple European tag team champion. He holds many, many titles in all kind of companies over here. So the expectation for me as a second generation wrestler was pretty high. All the colleagues, all the promoters, you know, they expected a lot from me. And they had also high hopes because I was a German guy and they needed a German wrestler in Germany. So I signed a deal for 1 year with CWA. I had a contract, and I was invited to a TV show because I was one of the youngest wrestlers in Europe and worldwide. It was a real big TV talk show, and to the topic wrestling. And also Johnny B. Bad and Sting were invited to that show because of that WCW tour, which you mentioned before, which they had in Germany going on. And I met the tour manager, and he said, hey, listen, we want to invite you to the show. And my dad, being in the business a long time, he said, hey, listen, kid, take your wrestling gear with you. You never know what's going to happen. So, of course, I did. And yeah, when I arrived at the building, the first thing, Ric Flair walked up to me and said, he was the booker at that time. And he said to me, hey, listen, do you have your wrestling gear with you? And I said, yeah. Okay, great, because somebody is injured and you can take his spot. And like you mentioned before, I wrestled Paul Roma. That was my first WCW match. That was kind of my tryout match. And yeah, apparently Rick liked that match, and he offered me to finish the tour with him. I finished the tour with him, of course, because big deal, you know, working for a big company like WCW at that time. And at the end of the tour, Ric Flair and Eric Bischoff said to me, hey, listen, do you want to have a contract? So I had to decide in 1 week if I take that chance of a lifetime and sign that WCW contract. I was 18 years old, and I had to decide if I leave Germany and move by myself to the States. I just had, I think, 1 week about to decide. The problem was I already had that CWA contract, so I had to, talk to them, and gladly they helped me out and said, "Hey, listen, that's a great chance. Take it. We support you," and I'm very grateful for that. And another thing was I was engaged at the time. I wasn't sure if that would work, long distance relationship. So, but it always was my dream. I never had a doubt in my mind that I'm gonna be a wrestler one day, and I'm gonna wrestle in the States. And I wanted to pursue that dream, and I took that chance and went over to the States.
That's awesome. And how was the move and everything for you? Like, it couldn't have been easy.
Well, it was not easy because, at the age of 18, I just bought a caravan or trailer, how you say, in the States, and because I was planning to be on the road over here for CWA in Austria and Germany and all kind of countries, and over here they always had tournaments. Like they had the show going on for 6 weeks or 2 months in one city. So the best thing is to have a trailer, because hotel rooms, it's pretty expensive for 2 months. Yeah. So I just bought that, and all my money, I put in that trailer. And so when I went over there, my parents, had to give me money, and my grandma and stuff like that. And then I went over there, and it's not easy as going to the States, being 18 years old, because 20 years you're an adult in the States. Plus I was a foreigner, and I was German, so not a lot of plus points on my side. And all my colleagues over there were like 30 and up. I mean, the youngest was like Bagwell. He was like mid-late 20s when I arrived in WCW. So it was tough at the beginning. I was living for half a year in a hotel over there. At the beginning, I had a contract with them, but they didn't pay me. I don't know what the reason was for that. So I had to do a lot of jobs on the side, like bouncer and stuff like that, or driving people from one point to the other, and just to make a little money. And they put me down in the power plant just to stay in shape and be ready when the time comes by. And I lost money a lot in the beginning, and without my family, which supported me financially, I wouldn't made it the first few months. So finally, one day I said, man, I can't continue like that. And I drove to the CNN building in Atlanta, went straight to the WCW office, went right away in the office to Eric Bischoff without having an appointment or anything. I said, Eric, I'm very grateful for the contract, but I'm losing money and I got a contract, but if you don't start paying me, I can go back to Germany and lose money over there also. And somehow, I think he respected my how you say my what's the word, that I was brave enough to come in there and stood up for myself, and he then I got paid, and it took a while. Then they put me on the shows, and then it was hard again because I had double living expenses, all the hotel and all that stuff in my home base, and then all the costs which you had on the road.
Yeah.
So I was sleeping on the floor in hotel rooms for my colleagues, and ate just one time a day and stuff like that, just to save money. That was took about half year to 9 months to get a little bit to save money and get out of that thing.
Yeah.
And the next thing was it was not that easy, like I said before, because I was very young and foreigner and German. So in the locker room, it was not that easy also. Probably they thought, well, I'm going to take the spot from somebody, and they featured me pretty good. They gave me a good push, WCW. So, there was jealousy and stuff like that. And they didn't know, I guess, how to sort me in. But since they saw that I was eager to learn and I was very respectful, I was brought up by my dad to the old school way, to respect the veterans and the trainers, and respect your colleagues, and respect the business, and of course the fans. And that's how it was. Kept my ears open, mouth shut. Just try to learn, do your job, have good matches, and just get better. And after a while, I think they I was part of the locker room, and it got easier after a while. But the first 9 months, it was pretty hard to get respect and all that stuff in the match and in the locker room. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
But after those 9 months, it really everything developed very, very good. I mean, I got along with almost everybody, and I made money. I traveled the world. I wrestled all the great stars, and I lived my dream. So I have very good memories. I mean, the time in the States is really no joke. It was the best time of my life, really.
Well, I'm going to jump forward here real quick because you were just recently back in the States at the big event.
Finally back in the States. Took a while, but it's a great turnout here in Brentwood, New York, in the Union Arena. Good to be back.
For a meet and greet, how was that experience?
Oh, great. That was so great. I mean, there were so many fans coming to that event from all other states just to see me, and that made me very happy. So, I felt really, first of all, it was great to be back in the States. I mean, I love that country. I love the people over there. But then just seeing how many loyal fans I still have, it was just a great feeling,
Yeah. It was that's how that came about.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I appreciate that. You talked about the WCW power plant and training there. How different was that as opposed to training with your dad?
Well, first of all, my dad, since he wrestled all over the world, he trained me in all kind of different wrestling styles. I mean, he trained me in the European style, in the Japanese style, in the Mexican style, and the American style. And of course, he was my dad. So when I said, I can't do that, he said, what? There's nothing such like you can't do that. You do it. You know, he was tough on me and hard on me. I mean, if you want to be one of the best, you know, and wrestle in the big companies, you really have to train hard. And that was his work ethic, you know, really train hard. If you step in the ring, you have to be a pro.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I did. And on the other side, he was, you know, always on my side and helping me through hardships in the training. In the WCW power plant, I learned a few things, and but most of that I already knew through my dad. It was more like a parking space because they didn't have any spot for me on the WCW show, and it's a good school, really good school, good trainers, tough trainers also. They had a lot of good young talents down there, but they were like, I mean, I had no relationship with them, and I was like foreigner in German and all that stuff. So they really tried to test me and try to break me, and I had to go through that, and I did, and I guess I got their respect for that, you know, not quitting, not giving up, and just doing the job, training in the job.
Yeah, I've heard stories of Sarge being pretty tough down there and the power.
Yes, but I understand why, because he was always tough to himself also. You know, I mean, he's a great athlete and worker, wrestler. You know, I mean, so he was tough on you, but he always wanted the best for you.
Yeah.
To get you forward, you know.
Yeah. You know, and one of those young stars that you bring up, you know, that you brought up being part of the WCW power plant and everything, Jean-Paul Levesque.
Lateral press once again is still not enough to get his man down for the count.
Looked like he knocked the air out of Levesque. Levesque came up sucking in that atmosphere.
Woo! He fires to the midsection, fires again to the midsection, and fires for a third time, and those punches have got authority. Two to the side of the jaw now by Alex Wright. He's thrown away the rule book here and says, hey, you want a pair of sixes? Let's go for it.
Here we go. He's got him now, brother. He needs to come back, reach down, get that momentum in your favor.
Beautiful polo-like forearms.
Some European uppercuts.
Remind me of Kid Gavilan there. High backdrop now by Alex Wright.
Hey, Alex is standing there. He's got to go, though. Attack. Yeah, he needs to be going for the win. I agree with you, Larry.
Well, I think that's where his inexperience shows. And, of course, both of these men are, comparatively speaking, inexperienced, but great futures. I'm beginning to say at this point in time that they're so equal in talent and capabilities that I still have to rate the match as a toss-up. Really, the backs played perfectly executed. High bridge almost had the pinfall.
You know, they've been going at it a long time, you know, and it seemed like they had both set a pace of kind of feeling each other out, but everything they've done is taken a lot of energy out of both men. They might both be just pretty well wasted at this point.
Well, you know, when you stop to think about it, the actual amount of physical contact.
Well, there you go.
Got him for the pinfall.
Hold that thought. We'll talk about it. What that thought was, hold it. What that thought to get away.
Alex.
Why is it upset? Great victory.
Sure was. And I'm just looking at my watch. I was a little over 12 minutes. When you stop to think about it, the average amount of body contact in a professional football game, the entire football game, you put a stopwatch to it, is about 14 minutes.
Yeah.
They have not stopped at all. They had no timeouts, no huddles or anything else, so they went by actual physical contact almost the length of a pro football game.
It took their toll on them.
What was it like feuding with him, and what are your thoughts on everything he's done, including getting a single WWE Hall of Fame nod this year?
Well, first of all, congratulations to him, you know. I mean, he definitely deserves it. He did a lot for the sport, and he's a great performer and wrestler. And I really enjoyed working with him. I mean, we're starting out in WCW. We had the same goal, to climb up the ladder in the career, and yeah, I never had any problems with him. I mean, I really enjoyed working with him. I mean, awesome. I went to the 214 as a guest trainer to the WWE Performance Center.
WWE sent me an invitation to come to Orlando to the WWE Performance Center as a guest trainer. The WWE Performance Center is just an amazing place. Great pool of talents here. The coaches are unbelievable, many years of experience, and they really want to help the students and the new recruits to be a future WWE superstar. Live your dream and believe in your dream.
They invited me over there, so everything's cool. And of course, like I said, he had an unbelievable career going in wrestling.
Yeah, and you brought up your dad getting to work in New Japan Pro Wrestling. You got to work in New Japan Pro Wrestling in the Super Junior. Yeah. So what was that experience like?
I definitely enjoyed being in Japan. I liked that style very much. I liked the mentality from the wrestlers and the audience. They are very, very respectful. I mean, all the countries, the audience are respectful to the wrestlers, but they are very, they hold back a little bit, and then they show you respect at certain moments. So that was a good experience to have over there. Yeah, I really enjoyed it. But nothing tops the States. The States.
So I watched a lot of your matches in CWA, including matches with a young Fit Finley as well. I never saw any particular like hardcore matches or extreme matches like ECW style. So I have to ask, was Sabu the first person that put you through a table?
It's a long time ago. I wrestled Public Enemy. And Public Enemy, I had a hardcore match with them.
Yes,
also.
That was 1998. Sabu was 95.
Sabu was 95. Okay.
Yep.
A long time ago. Yeah. Table could be. Yeah, table. Yeah, could be that Sabu was that. I wrestled JBL for CWA, and he had that cowboy gimmick, and he had a big blue rope, and he put it around my neck, and he was like throwing me over the top rope. And the problem was the ring apron is much higher than an American ring, so my feet didn't touch the floor. Actually, I was hanging really on there. Yeah, that was pretty hard.
Oh, wow.
No, but I never did that many. I did a chain match with Vampiro and against Public Hardcore and Sabu. Yeah, that's it.
I remember the Public Enemy match at the time you were with Disco as the Dancing Fools.
Yeah.
For that match, yeah. You brought up getting to work with all the big stars, and when it comes to WCW, Ric Flair's one of the biggest stars for WCW in professional wrestling. You got to wrestle him, from what I saw on cagematches.net, a dozen times, and you even picked up a W once. So what was the experience working with Ric Flair?
Yeah, it was fun. It was like walk in the park, I mean, I wasn't nervous because I knew there's a guy with such a lot experience. There can't be doing anything wrong, because if I do something wrong, he just tells me, no, you have to do this or this. And no, I felt very safe, and I learned a lot from him and also from Arn Anderson. Every time I had matches with them, I was looking forward to it.
Awesome. Now, WCW is in the Monday Night Wars, and the cruiserweights are a very big part of WCW at this time, something where WWF was lacking in that area. How instrumental was Chris Jericho to WCW and the cruiserweight division as far as developing storylines?
Developing storylines. I mean, he was a very important part, of course, in that division. Like Eddie Guerrero, Di Malenko, Piro, the Kidman, and all those guys. But I have to say, how much influence he had on storylines, I'm not sure. I mean, you would have to ask somebody else, him or the Office, you know.
Okay. The only reason why I ask is because I interviewed Ultimo Dragon, and he said that Chris Jericho was a big reason why the cruiserweights ended up, getting storylines and not just having matches.
Okay, well, it could be.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know about it, but it could be definitely, yeah. I mean, he's a smart guy, you know.
Yeah.
Great performer and wrestler, so.
And your first championship, you win the WCW Cruiserweight Championship against Jericho on Nitro. So, how was that?
Young man Alex Wright. What a smart move on the part of Alex Wright, dropping down the throat of Jericho across that top steel cable. Whoa. And Jericho still with the inside cradle, almost got the 1, 2, 3. German suplex. 2, 3. Oh my! Alex Wright beat him. Alex Wright's a champion. Can you believe this? I hate to say it, but that was a beautiful move. Well, it really was. And Alex Wright.
I'm the only
Jericho is
best
still
looking
there
guy.
behind him.
I'm the best wrestler in the world.
I think the turning point, Jericho had the sleeper applied, but Alex Wright knew where he was at all times. He dropped down, and the throat of Jericho across that top rope. That easily allowed him to follow up with the big German suplex and get the win. All right, can you believe it? Alex Wright is...
Well, it's always great to get a victory over a great worker and great wrestler, plus to get a title belt. I mean, that's something very special. And but for me, it was always much more important that the match was a good match. It really didn't that much matter to me if it was a title match or not, because I always try to do my best. And if you have opponents like Jericho or like the others I mentioned before, you knew you're able to work a good match because they work your style, and so I was definitely looking forward to working Jericho, and it was a great moment. I mean, to beat him, because he was a really established star, worldwide.
Yeah. And following that, you got to work with Ultimo Dragon, win the WCW TV championship, getting your second singles championship at Clash of the Champions. So
Wright has been scouting the Dragon. He saw that handspring elbow coming. Dragon trying to standing switch, and he got it. Tempted the Tiger suplex after it looked like Alex was going to catch him with the German. Here's a roll-up. 1. Back the other way. 1, 2, no! Alex Wright rolled out. German suplex. 1, 2, 3. Yes. Oh, man. Oh, yes. How about that? What do you mean, oh, yes? I mean, what a win for Alex Wright. What a great win. I would agree. 2 title matches, 2 new champions. He lost the Cruiserweight belt not too long ago, but Alex Wright rebounds and is the new World Television Champion. And we ain't done yet. Coming up next, another title match.
you bring up, different styles in wrestling. So how fun was it for you, knowing your opponent, that you could go and just work their style, or just, be versatile and work any style?
Well, let me say, I mean, if you have those opponents in that division, you knew there's a big chance that you can have a great match.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes you came to the building, looked at the sheet, and looked what's your opponent for the night. And sometimes you had opponents which you knew, oh man, that's gonna be a real tough match to work. And so I never had that feeling with all the guys from the Cruiserweight division. So like I said before, I was always looking forward to work with them. I always was able to learn something from the match, like if I wrestled Dean or Eddie or Ultimo Dragon and all those guys. So it always made me a better worker afterwards.
Mm. And you get to team with, we brought this up, you got to team with Disco Inferno twice as the Dancing Fools and then later again as the Boogie Knights. When you won the WCW Tag Team Championships, Disco was injured.
Mm-hmm.
Is there a part of you that, you know, in the back of your mind had wished you had won those belts with Disco?
Yeah, of course, it would have been better. And because, I mean, we were a tag team and it was very sad that he was injured, but Hugh Morris took his spot and we managed to get the titles here in Germany, I think it was. Yeah.
Yeah.
Won the match, yeah. So it was a great night. Still, being in my home country, you know, in front of the German audience, for me, it was something special.
And what was it like to be able to team with Disco?
Well, I not only teamed with him, I traveled a lot with him also. And yeah, it was really a great guy, fun guy. I mean, yeah, it was just fun being around him. I mean, he, you know, he talks a lot and it was never boring, you know, so it's a lot of fun. Sometimes he should maybe think about a little bit more what he's saying. He got in trouble many times for something, you know, what he just said. But no, I got along very good with him.
Awesome. And I got to ask, who came up with the idea for Berlyn in that character?
Okay, that was my idea. Because the thing
really?
was, I didn't like that pretty boy image anymore. You know,
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to make something totally different. Or do something totally different. Plus, I was starting losing my hair, you know, so I couldn't keep that hairstyle anyway. And I said to my wife, "Hey, listen, I want to do something totally different." And I like the gothic stuff also, and so yeah, I just wanted to create an old style vampire gimmick gothic type guy, you know.
And how receptive was WCW with wrestlers pitching ideas, including this one?
Well, Eric, he was totally flashed when he saw that gimmick. I mean, he was really behind that gimmick. He really liked it. And yeah, I believed him because nobody really from my colleagues recognized me. When I walked in a locker room, nobody knew who I was. And there were guys I wrestled like years and years together with them, and they didn't recognize me. And you know how it is when a new guy comes in the locker room, you know, all the other guys look, "Hey, who's that? What's he gonna do? Is he getting a push or whatever?" And I played that game for about 2-3 hours in the locker room. Didn't talk to everybody, you know. And when they finally found out that it was me, they couldn't believe it. So yeah, it was good. Had a lot of potential, that gimmick.
Yeah, it really did. I was really excited for it.
And I must say, WCW really had me doing a really good debut for that character.
Verlieren ist nicht akzeptabel.
Ladies and gentlemen, I truly do not know what to expect, but I think finally It is the arrival to World Championship Wrestling of Berlin.
Long anticipated arrival of this man, and we've already seen that he's arrived at the building. I got to tell you, Brain, there's something about this guy that I just don't like. I don't know what it is.
Well, I'll tell you something. This man has distinguished himself as one of the greatest wrestlers ever to come out of Germany. And if he decides he wants to make his mark here at WCW, no one's going to stop him.
Yeah, and he's going to be pretty hard to ignore. And I got to admit, fans, Berlyn has arrived most impressively with an entourage. The lady that you see is with him is his interpreter, Uta Ludendorff, we understand her name. And once again, the mysterious past of this man, the fact that we know that he can speak English, but refuses to speak English. And he has brought his interpreter out here with him.
He's scary looking. I don't mind telling you. They're searching Okerlund. They should have done this years ago.
This has never happened to Okerlund in the ring. Gene, I don't know what to make of this.
Well, finally, ladies and gentlemen, or should I say, hopefully, finally we're going to hear something from this mystery man. You have arrived tonight.
Alles aufgepasst! Ich habe eine Botschaft an die WCW.
What did he say?
Attention! Berlyn has a message for the WCW.
All right.
Ich beherrsche die Kunst des Ringens, die die amerikanischen Ringer gar nicht verstehen.
Could speak in English. I know better than that.
He says he has a knowledge of wrestling that the American wrestlers don't understand.
Wenn eure Ringer ringen, ist es nur Ringen. Wenn ich ringe, ist es Kunst.
I understood that. What did he say?
He says when your wrestlers wrestle, it's just wrestling. When he wrestles, it's an art.
You got more, my friend?
Ich wurde von einem Konsortium von Geschäftsleuten zur perfekten Maschine trainiert. Und keiner, aber auch keiner, baut Maschinen besser als die Deutschen.
Back to the interpreter. Tell me what he said.
He says he was built by a consortium of German businessmen and made into a perfect machine. Nobody builds machines better than the Germans.
Ich bin bereit. Ich habe den ersten Mann ausgesucht, den ich zerstören werde.
He says that he is ready. He has chosen the first man he will destroy.
You have chosen the first man?
Buff Bagwell!
Buff Bagwell!
Buff Bagwell!
Wow, that's a challenge.
Out of all of the wrestlers in World Championship Wrestling, why, Berlyn, would you pick Buff Bagwell?
Bagwell repräsentiert, was die Amerikaner ausmacht. Exzess, Narzissmus und Selbstgenuss. Die deutsche Maschine wird ihn zerstören.
He says Bagwell represents what Americans are all about. Excess, narcissism, and self-indulgence. And the German machine will destroy him.
We all know that you speak English. Why would you prefer to speak German here tonight?
Jeder weiß, dass ich schon einmal hier gewesen bin. Ich spreche perfekt Englisch. Doch ekelt es mich an. Und ich weigere mich, das nicht perfekte amerikanische Englisch zu benutzen.
To the interpreter.
He says yes, he has been here before. And yes, he speaks perfect English. but your language disgusts him. Therefore, he refuses to speak it again.
Simple.
Und Bagwell, wo ich herkomme, heißt es, verlieren ist nicht akzeptabel.
He says, Bagwell, where are you? In my country, losing is not.
I'm sure that...
It is unacceptable.
Okay, apparently that concludes this interview. I'm not getting a lot from this man, Berlyn, but certainly the interpreter has laid it all out for us. Can you imagine, for the life of me, this man wants a shot at Buff Bagwell? My suspicions are, sooner or later, he will get it. We're at prime time at Nitro. We're on Long Island, and we're going to be right back. Don't go away.
Bagwell's watching.
Usually they don't put that much work into debuting characters, WCW, but that was kind of like more like WWE used to do that.
Yeah.
So, yeah, could have been much bigger, but then Vince Russo came in and he didn't like any ideas from Eric or characters which Eric pushed, and then that's it. That's the business.
And I'm glad you brought that up, because I was going to ask your thoughts on the difference of working with Eric Bischoff and then working with Vince Russo.
Well, Eric, I mean, I didn't work that long with Vince, and so I really can't say how he's personally.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Eric, he's a great businessman, and he's a fair boss. He always stood to his word, and I really enjoyed working for him, and I'm very grateful he gave me that chance and gave me many contracts for WCW. And he definitely understood the WCW audience and the WCW product.
Mm-hmm.
And in my opinion, Vince Russo did not understand the WCW audience. He was trying to book a WWE show for a WCW audience, and that didn't work.
Yeah, you're right. I see it. When did you notice WCW starting to decline?
Well, when the arenas were half empty and they had to always tell the people to come on, everybody sits on one side, so it looks full on the hard cam and all that stuff. And you know, I mean, the word spread very quickly in the locker room that WCW is going down the hill.
Yeah.
And plus, if you have a boss which makes an actor to the World Heavyweight Champion, WCW World Heavyweight Champion, that's not very good.
Yeah, David Arquette there. I remember that. I remember that.
Yeah.
And Vince Russo also made himself champion too. I remember.
Oh, he did? I forgot about that. Maybe he was a good champion.
Yeah, he made himself champion.
Oh, really? Well,
yeah.
Even worse than himself. No, I mean, I just pushed it back. Yeah, I remember slowly again. Yeah.
Yeah.
That shouldn't happen. Stuff like that.
You were one of the rare few that were under a AOL Time Warner contract as opposed to a WCW contract.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
I've listened to other interviews, and you had stated that, you know, you had chosen to stay out that contract for the year. Did WWE try and contact you at all to try and go work for them even after your contract expired?
Well, while I was working for WCW, a lot of guys approached me, and, you know, it was kind of through some channels, and that they were interested in me, WWE. But I was so grateful being in WCW. I mean, I was a young kid, you know, was making really good money, working all those great wrestlers, had the chance to work them and learn. And I already had my spot in WCW, and I was traveling the world. I mean, I really was really happy in WCW. And so at that time, I wasn't interested in going to WWE. And then afterwards, when WCW was sold to them, I did not want to go to WWE because I was just mentally and physically burned out. I mean, I was there from 94 or 95 till the end, and I was a regular on the show, so I traveled many days a year, and sometimes I had 7 matches a night when they had TV tapings or whatever. So it was pretty tough lifestyle. And then the backstage politics at the end, it just killed my passion for the sport at the end. And so I thought to myself, well, I go back to my roots and I go back to Germany for a while. I sit out my contract because I had 2 more years left. And while I was in Germany, I met with old friends, and I didn't work out at the time. I just try to have a good time, and after a while I got my passion back again, but I wasn't like 100%. And then the WWE contacted me twice and asked me, hey, don't you want to come? And I said, nah, I'm not ready. I can't give 100% for you guys, for the promoter, and I can't give 100% for me, and I definitely can't give 100% for the fans. So I'm very honored and grateful, but I have to say no thanks. Because I didn't want to end up like other colleagues of mine,
Yeah, I can understand.
You always can push yourself and take stuff to push you even more. But I didn't want to do that because I saw so many sad tragedies in the business. I didn't want to end up like that.
Totally understandable. Totally understandable. One of the things that fans, such as myself, do enjoy are the collectibles of pro wrestling. Action figures, like I have.
Yeah.
I have your signed one right here.
Great, yeah.
The Legends figure. You have an official WCW action figure from '95. You got to be part of the WCW Nitro and the Thunder video games. So what was all that like, to be able to have like physical stuff like of you from that time?
The first time you get some merch, it's really a great experience and great feeling. The same like the first match you ever have, the first autograph you give to a fan, that's all like those memories which are they're like very special. So you don't forget that. But if it gets more often and on a regular base, then you get used to it, like to everything else. The first one is always the special one, but afterwards it's just, oh, there's another action figure, oh, there's another card, oh, there's another, you get kind of used to it. Looking back, everything is special to me, because now with all the distance to the business again, to the active side, I realized how very special everything was. But being years ago that young kid, 25 or 28 or whatever guy, it felt, well, that's how the business is, and it's good that I have merchandise and it's an easy paycheck, because you get paid royalties. So that's how it is. Yeah.
Cool. Now you decide to retire in 2003. You have your retirement match, and you'd brought up finding your spark again and everything. You start the Right Stuff Wrestling School.
Yeah. First of all, I have to correct you. Sorry. But I never retired officially.
Oh, never officially retired. Okay.
No, I never had a retirement match, nothing like that. So actually, I could still, go back, and go, okay, let's go. But the thing was, it was kind of, I was here in Germany, and I got my passion back for the sport, and but I remembered the time when I left Germany. The local companies had a really hard time because American wrestling was brought on TV. You could watch it on TV, so the fans didn't go to the other promotions anymore, so they lost fans. And I remember the feeling when I was sitting, because when I was young, I was the first guy in the building, and I was watching all the fans come and take their seats, and the music was playing, and in many arenas I was, you know, sitting there, and I was watching the workers being in the ring before the actual show and stuff like that. So when the arena filled up with fans, I realized year to year how it got less, and it made me feel very sad, you know, because there were many good workers in the business over here. And when I came back from the States, I said to myself, man, I you know, the sport gave me so much. I wanted to give something back to the sport. And I knew there's a lot of interest in becoming a wrestler and getting professional wrestling training, but there were not many schools over here. Oh, let's say none, really. I mean, a few guys train, but not on that level where I wanted to have a school for young people which are interested in coming in the sport. So I decided to open that wrestling school, the Right Stuff Pro Wrestling School. And there was such a big interest in the wrestling training that, you know, got bigger and bigger and bigger. And 2009, I opened my own wrestling promotion, New European Championship Wrestling, because the thing is, I wanted to, you know, give the young people a place where they can learn that sport really from a professional guy which had the experience, you know. Sometimes my dad showed up also at the school and, you know, helped as a trainer. So there was a lot of years of experience which we could give to them without having all the BS what sometimes young students have to go through. And then I thought to myself, well, I trained those guys so good and they're so talented. Why don't I give them a safe environment where they can develop as a rookie without having all the BS in the locker rooms and all the promotions and all that stuff and backstage politics and stuff. And in my promotion, what counted was only the performance. And if you are hungry to perform, and I pushed. That was the difference from my promotion to other promotions over here. The other promotions, they always brought established workers on their shows. Of course, it's smart because they have a name and they sell tickets. But I thought to myself, no, I wanted to give the young guys a chance. So I pushed the young guys, and it worked because they were really hungry. You had no BS with them, no big heads. You know, they just wanted to show what they're able of. And yeah, the company grew, and then we started producing for Fightbox HD and Fight TV and for Rocket Beans TV over here in Germany. So it was very, very good.
Awesome. And I was going to bring up New European Championship Wrestling. It's on my notes. I was very excited about that because I follow your social media. Giovani Vinci was one of your students who made it who made it to WWE. You know, what was it like training Giovani, and what advice would you give to wrestlers who get released from a big company?
Okay, well, first of all, training Fabian, which is his real name, was just fun. I mean, he listens all the time. He never argued. He trusted me, which is very important in a relationship between trainer and student or coach and student. And yeah, he was an exceptional talent. I mean, I showed something to him, and he got it like that. He trained hard, he worked hard, and yeah, he had to go through a lot of hardships also. I mean, he traveled from Italy all the time to my school. He was a young guy. I started training when he was 19. And yeah, great talent, great wrestler. I mean, he can do much more than the fans saw of him just with WWE. I mean, he's unbelievable what he can do. I mean, he's really a great talent. And actually, he was a co-trainer for my school then, and then he was New European NEW World Heavyweight Champion multiple times, and hardcore champion also for NEW, and he is now a very good friend of mine. Over the years, we became very close and very good friends. And yeah, he's one of the best students I had. Yes, definitely. And the other questions you had before for what a guy should do after he's released. Well, there are two views on that. Okay. The first view that is when you got released, you still have the attention from the promotions and from the audience, and it depends if you had just a push or whatever, then you're hot. So when you go to other company and you ask for a contract, you're in a much better position to negotiate because you ride from TV here to here. On the other hand, the other view, what I got on that, you have to look inside of yourself and have to check, how do you feel? Are you able to continue right away, or do you need a break for yourself and for your soul and just, be more calm down again? Because it's a fast-paced life, being on the road all the time, and working all the time and stuff like that. So yeah, I think it's an individual decision for everybody. If you just focus on your career, it's probably better to right away contact other companies, or even beforehand. I mean, most of the times you're gonna get released, so you should get in touch with all the other promotions.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. Two different perspectives there. I like that. Now for new, I would like for you to take the time to plug any upcoming shows that you have coming up with the company, for the right stuff. When's the next time you're going to have opening classes for new students? I would like you to take the time and just, plug all that stuff. And this is your time, so have at it.
Well, the next NEW show is in May 29th. It's Father's Day over here, and it's in Etzelsdorf. It's close. It's a small city close to Nuremberg, where my hometown is, and I'm really looking forward to it. A lot of former NEW workers are at that show again. The thing is, all my students are now in the business over here. They have a lot of bookings, and there are a lot of champions and former champions. So I'm looking forward to see them again. Last time we had a show like that, we had about 1,600 spectators, which is very good for Germany, for indie promotion. And I hope we get this time even 2,000 spectators. Sorry for my bad language. I'm a little bit tired over here. Had a lot of stuff to do in the office today. So, and yeah, wrestling school in September this year. I have new opening classes. It's like a 2-day seminar for beginners. So if anybody's interested, just write me on the prowrestlingschool.de and I give you all the information.
Awesome. And fans, I will have all the links in the description so you guys can check that out. And for the new show, will fans be able to watch this on Fight TV, or like where can fans outside of Germany be able to watch?
Maybe. I'm not sure if we're gonna record that show.
Okay.
Because it's a lot of work recording shows, and then the post-production, and all the commentating, and there's a lot of stuff to do. So right now I switched my business concept from having a production arena. That was the NEW hotspot. I had it like till 2019, right before Corona. I switched my business concept now to being on the road all the time and doing right now just house shows, no TV.
Okay.
Because it's much easier to put shows on like that. If you're always in the pressure of producing TV or stream stuff, then it's really stressful.
Yeah.
So everything I do, I try to do with love and passion. So if I feel, okay, now I have to slow down a little bit, I slow down. And if I want to pick up, I pick up again.
Okay. Alex, I want to thank you for taking the time to speak with me today. I had a great time. Oh, you're very welcome. Fans, I'm going to have all sorts of links in the description for you regarding regarding the Right Stuff School, and just other ways, to be able to contact Alex to, get to, try and get into his school and everything for September. Alex, again, thank you for taking the time to speak with me today. I had a great time. But fans, I need you to remember, spoiler freeze, the way to be. We're out.
Thank you very much, Lee.